Marty Schwartz here, GuitarJamz.com. I'm super stoked to bring another song tutorial. This is actually another request, and it's "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away" by the Beatles. Wow, Beatles, amazing. What can you say? All right, so here we go. It's in three, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so forth and so on. You can kind of just feel it, the pulse of it. You don't necessarily have to be counting the whole time, but if you're a beginner and you need to do that, it's helpful to get it started. Okay. So there's a verse and there's a chorus, which makes it nice and easy peasy. So we're going to do the verse now. Here we go. We need a G, D, F, G. Okay, and I'll just play that little segment of it. Okay, so each one of those was for 3 counts, and I'm breaking up the strumming, and I go down, up, 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 down, up. And I pretty much keep that the whole time, for the whole song. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. For the whole thing, all right? So we just did G, D, F, G. Now it goes to C, but for 2 measures, which means 2 counts of 3. And then an F, then a C again. So here's that. Okay, so it's good to know what a measure is if you've never studied any kind of music. It's a real easy thing. It also means the same thing as a bar. When you hear 12-bar blues, that's also a 12-measure blues. But when you say it in the blues, it sounds better saying 12-bar blues because I'm at the bar. I'm drinking my whiskey. All right, but so anyway, what we had so far was every chord of that sequence was 1 measure or 1 count of 3. Except for that 1 C chord, which was 2 measures. Everything else was 1 measure. So here comes the verse again. G, D, F, G, C, C, F, C. Now it repeats, but it's going to end, it's going to have like kind of a little tag on a D chord. So when it repeats, it does G, D, F, G, C, C, F, C, D. Okay, so I'm going to do that whole sequence one more time, and then we'll talk about where it goes from there. Okay, pretty easy. What it's going to do after that is it's going to repeat that whole sequence again. In other words, the one time through and then the next time through with the D chord. But this time, now we're getting ready to go to the chorus, the big payoff, okay? And when it gets to that D, it does a little D, what I like to call a D walk down. In other words, it takes a D chord and then it shifts its fingers and it kind of walks down a staircase, musically speaking, for kind of like a anticipation into the chorus, okay? And it sounds like this. I'll actually do it from the whole G sequence before that. it goes if you're watching this video, but I'm going to teach that too. Okay, so now check this out. We're going to take a closer look at that D walk down. All right, let's take a look at the D walk down. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be strumming the first chord, just normal style with a down, up, and I'm strumming starting with the D string. Okay, then my middle finger is going to come off of the chord and it's going to go to the 3rd fret on the A string. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of emphasize that note by plucking down on it, and then up, with the chord. Like that. So here it is. I'll play it at the sound hole so it sounds better. Okay, then I'm going to take my middle finger off like that, and I'm going to take my first finger off now. Now we really have, you know, the battled remnants of a D chord, and I'm going to take my first finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the A string. I'm going to do that same technique where I hit that string and then up, up. Then I'm going to take my first finger off and I'm going to do the same thing where I hit the open A string, strum that, and then we're going to go right into the chorus. Okay, so here's that walk down from the D. Hey! Okay, so let's talk about the chorus now. The chorus has actually got a little walk up, you know, meaning that it's kind of walking up a flight of stairs musically, but going up, you know, the sounds are going up. So we go G, and then an open A string, and then middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then my ring finger is going to go up to it and transition into a C chord. So it sounds like this. Now I go to a D chord, and I start with the D chord. My pinky is down on the 3rd fret of the high E string, and I'm going to play it with the pinky off, middle finger off, middle finger back on. And those are all, you know, when you see in a sheet music, the pinky on here is the sus4, regular D, middle finger off, you can call it sus2, and it sounds like this. Oh, sorry. Here it is one more time. Chorus. All right, so once again, this was Marty Schwartz. GuitarJamz.com with a Z. Please be my friend.